So today I just want to talk about Front Desk, which I just finished. Had been reading it kind of in bits and pieces for a month, and then I finally just sat down and read the whole thing. And it's a debut middle grade novel by Kelly Yang, and the lead character is named Mia, which we have the same name. And I have to say, I've never met a Mia that I didn't like. And in fact, I mean, Mia in this character Mia is like someone to really fall in love with. This particular copy I have is an ARC, but it did go on sale May 29th, so it is available now. And I think this is a really important book, especially like we're compiling a list for poverty for Multicultural Children's Book Day, and this is a really good book for that list because it talks about a new immigrant poverty, and it sort of makes you realize, how just how the economics are set up, if you haven't studied economics, about how who controls the capital, who controls the assets, controls the wealth. And I think that's a really relevant and important sort of reality that we live in currently, because the wealth has never been so unevenly distributed in a long time in America. Right now, I think 80% of the wealth is in the hands of just, what I think the percent is like 1% or 3%, with corporations who used to pay 50 cents in taxes for every dollar they paid for employees, and now it's just like it's a few cents, I think, now. I have to look up the stat. And so Mia's family, they have immigrated from mainland China, and they are running a motel in Southern California, near Disneyland, actually, where I grew up, where there's a ton of hotels. And they're in sort of a very abusive situation where the owner, who is also Chinese, has given them a really, a contract that is just, basically like, almost like modern day slavery. And there are other examples in the book of immigrant friends that come to visit that are seeking refuge, who are actually, sort of modern day slaves working in restaurants 18 hours a day with their identification and their passports confiscated. And it's sort of about the struggle that, Mia and her family, they're learning English. She's starting a new school. They're in this very, bad financial situation where they're just working day and night and making, barely subsistence living. But despite it all, Mia is this wonderful heroine who, sees right from wrong and really fights for justice, is kind of learning about racism for the first time, because that didn't really exist in China, and is, sort of battling racism as she finds it in her community, because some of the people that live in the hotel on a regular basis, an African American man, she helps him, and he becomes a dear friend to her. And her best friend Lupe is a Mexican immigrant family, and so anyway, so this is a book about how she wants to be a writer, but of course it's difficult when English is her second language, and her mother's very against that. But despite it, she perseveres, and she ends up using her ability to with language, with the English language, to accomplish all kinds of what seem to be insurmountable, impossible goals, including the ending, which, may be a little bit far-fetched or unrealistic, but still is a very satisfying ending. And the realities of being poor, an immigrant, in poverty, with loan sharks. I mean, these are not far-fetched. These are all realities, especially in the Asian American community. These are things that are not well known, because the sort of the standard image for Asian Americans is this, model minority where everyone is sort of middle class. But that isn't really true for immigrants who immigrated before 1965, who came in without education, and faced a lot of racism and didn't have the same opportunities as those who came over after 1965 when the immigration laws changed. So I guess what I want to say is, wow, this book is really mind blowing. It's really important. It's a really exciting page turner. There's interesting action happening. The book is very well written, and sort of the threads of the different things that Mia is doing carry through throughout the book, and they get tied up along the way in a really satisfying way. So I can't really praise this book enough, but I am a huge fan of Kelly, and if her life was even half this, if she did even half of this stuff in the book, if that was from personal experience, I would just say also that's just a really an amazing success story. So thank you. I hope you read this book, and I hope you enjoy it too.